Hello, mgtow brothers. This is John, host of mgtow is Freedom. I wanted to do a video about how the New World Order, the conspiracy, right, the agenda to take over the world is using feminism and using weakened males to get their way. I want to throw out a couple of names. There's that woman that runs the IMF, Juilliard. There is Janet Yellen of the Federal Reserve. Hillary Clinton, Jill Stein, politicians in the United States, Angela Merkel over in Germany. All of these women who are in positions of power are arguably inept, incapable, not doing a good job. I don't like to associate someone sitting in a big fancy chair with having the intellect to get there, to build that chair themselves. Especially the politicians. They're just riding the coattails of everyone else who have built something. And even Janet Yellen is just sitting in a chair, just steering a boat on the path that's already been set. She's not doing anything great. But what is it that they get? Okay, this is where I look and I see the world being run on an agenda in a certain direction. And men now are accepting women in these positions of power because they've been shamed and guilted into believing that there was a glass ceiling and that the patriarchy of men have held women back from these positions of high authority. But it's all a bunch of shit. It's all a bunch of crap, and we're being used. Men and the people in general are being used because these women in high places of authority are not being held accountable for their incompetence, for their poor decisions, for their bad judgment, for their incapacity to understand the position they're in. Let's take Merkel, for example, over in Germany. They've got a massive, massive problem with Muslim immigrants and their culture being destroyed. Yet she's doing nothing about it. We got over here on this side of the pond, we've got Hillary Clinton, who has broken every law that can be broken pertaining to the jobs that she's had. And she's not being held accountable. She plays victim, she plays martyr, right? The vast right-wing conspiracy is going to get her. She plays the martyr like she's done so much good, and she makes one little mistake, one lapse, one tiny lapse, and she's being crucified. Oh my. It's a bunch of bullshit. She's falling back on being a woman. Janet Yellen, same story. Our nation is in a mess, and the Federal Reserve, which is controlling our monetary system, she's doing all she can to what? To steer the ship in the same direction towards chaos. She's doing nothing to fix anything. Nothing at all. So I look at Yellen. What is she doing? What is she doing right? Nothing. Nothing. We're facing an economic collapse. Part of some kind of New World Order scheme to get us all under their thumb, under their boot. And we're giving all of these women a pass because they're women. We're being expected to not criticize them because they're women. And the moment you criticize them, you're called a misogynist, a bigot, a sexist, a racist. Whatever they can, they'll throw at you, and you're expected to take it. You, me, everyone. Because they're women, and they fall back on that. Oh, poor me, I'm just a woman. This doesn't just happen in politics. It happens on everywhere that women are in power. Oh, there's a lot of them that are good. Trust me, I've done my research. There are quite a few CEOs that are women that are doing a great job. But there's also an even larger number that aren't, that are failing. I'm just going to throw one at you. How about that woman who's in charge of Yahoo? Right? Bringing the companies down. And everyone's in love with. Everyone is having a romance with the idea of having a woman as a CEO. It just gets everyone's little pussies all tight, all wet, including all the Manginas out there. They think it's fucking great. Well, I think it's a sham. I think you should only be in a job if you know what the fuck you're doing. if you're competent, if you're willing to accept responsibility as well as taking the credit when things go right. I look at the IMF and the direction it's gone. I look at the Federal Reserve Chairman and the direction that has gone. I look at our nation and the direction it almost took. And Jill Stein, who jumped on the vagina bandwagon to try and help Hillary in this recount nonsense. I look over at Europe, at Merkel, and all of the women who step up into positions of power. And it's girl power left and girl power right, but nothing is getting fixed. In fact, it's just getting worse. It's going to take a man's man, someone like Trump, everywhere to do something. And hopefully he is his own man and he's not a puppet as well. But I wanted to throw this video out there. I want to ask you guys, what do you think? Is Merkel over there in Germany, is she hiding behind her Kotex? Is she got a padded bra out in front of her to take the blows and deflect them? Or is she responsible? Does she accept responsibility, or is she playing games and hiding behind her sex? How about Hillary? What's her defense? How is she operating? What do you guys think of Hillary? I mean, seriously, look at her. Look at the shit she pulls. Why does she get away from everything, or away with everything? Does she play the woman card? Look at her. Does she play the feminist games? Same with Jill Stein. Who the fuck is Jill Stein? Besides a communist. Does she really have her shit together? Or do men just play soft with her, soft hands? It doesn't matter where you find these feminists in power. They play like they're men until they get caught, and then they act like women and say, "Don't hold me responsible. I don't need that kind of stuff. It's just a mistake." And one of the great ways I want to point to this, point out the difference, is the way that Trump went after Hillary in the debates. The first debate I thought he pussed, but the second two he really came on strong. The reason that Trump beat all the Republicans in the primary was he did not back down. He did not act like a mangina, like a little pussy. He played rough and he played like a man with those guys. He beat them all. He beat them at their own game. Then he went up against Hillary. Hillary played all of the little games. She dressed like someone's grandma. And how many fucking times did we have to hear about how she is a grandmother and a mother, and only she knows? And in the next breath, as soon as he would say something about her breaking the law, she would fall back on to the attitude, well, I'm just a girl. Just a girl. So did I read that right? What do you guys think of that? Do you think these women in power, do you think they're there on their own 2 feet? Or do you think they've ridden the coattails of men's guilt and men's shame at the patriarchy, right? That we have to accept everybody as equal, even when they're not. Is that what's going on here in our world? That giant mega corporations are being run by underqualified people because of feminist propaganda? Is the monetary system of the 2 largest groups, right? 2 of the 3. There's the EU, the Federal Reserve, and then the IMF, International Monetary Fund. I don't know who runs the European banking system, but I know that Yellen and Girard, whatever her name is, the French broad, I mean, they're both in there. Are they in there so that as women, their mistakes are overlooked and forgiven more easily by the people, and that they play that game? I know what I think. What do you guys think? Is this yet another example of being fucked with, toyed with? Weak, unexpecting or unsuspecting men all around the world are being pushed into following and accepting these incompetent leaders in the business and political world. That's what I see. Look at Europe. It's being overrun by violent Muslim extremists. And I'll discount all of the good Muslims. I don't care if there's good Muslims over there. It's the violent assholes. And the men aren't standing up and doing anything about it. And the governments are not doing anything about it. They're not standing up. This world is being taken down by feminists at the top now. They've clawed, lied, cheated, stealed, shamed, and guilted their way to the top. And there they sit on their thrones in their high places and talk about ruling us. Hillary needs to go to jail. Forever. As an example to everyone, men and women included, that you don't get to those positions as an incompetent and then make mistakes, commit felonies, and expect to get away with it. Feminism needs to be stopped, boys. Look what it's doing to our world, to our nations, to our economies, to our governments, and to us as individuals. I'm John, host of mgtow is Freedom. I have the penis. I'm the man. I know what the fuck's going on. What do you guys think?